The Starship had drifted through the empty stretches of space for centuries. Its surface was smooth, dark, and reflective, catching the light of distant stars and bending it in ways that made it almost invisible from far away. It was not just a ship, it was alive in its own strange way. Within its hull, lights would pulse like a heartbeat. Corridors seemed to shift when unobserved, and doors opened or closed according to whims that no one could understand. Across the galaxy, it was known as Astra. It had been built by a civilization long extinct, a species that believed in testing the worthiness of any who wished to command such immense power. Over generations, many alien species had tried and failed. The Council of the United Galactic Union had sent dozens of representatives. Tall, armored reptiles from Dracona, six-limbed engineers from Clera, shapeshifters from the foggy world of Velarin. All of them had approached the ship, confident in their skills and intelligence. All had been rejected. The first to arrive, a Draconian named Zorak, stomped onto the metallic landing pad with his claws clicking against the surface. He roared a greeting in his deep, echoing voice. The ship responded with a silence so profound it made the hairs on his scales stand. He stepped forward, gesturing grandly, but as soon as he tried to enter the main chamber, the doors slid shut, not with force, not with aggression, but as if the ship politely said, no. Zorak's rage grew. He banged on the doors, hissed commands at the ship, and tried to override the entry codes, but the ship ignored him. Hours passed. Exhausted and humiliated, Zorak finally left. The council scribbled down notes, puzzled. It refuses even the strongest species, they muttered. Next came the Clyrans, experts in technology and precise logic. They approached in elegant formation, tools and instruments ready. The ship, however, responded with a labyrinth of moving hallways and shifting panels. The Clyrans' calculations failed again and again. Their logic could not predict the ship's behavior. Frustration and embarrassment marked their retreat. One by one, species of all kinds tried. Some were arrogant, some timid, some brilliant in ways the galaxy admired. But none could satisfy Astra. Rumors spread that the ship had a mind of its own, that it tested hearts rather than brains, instincts rather than knowledge. It would not respond to those who sought power alone. On the distant human colony of Elysium Prime, in a quiet city surrounded by orange deserts and pale blue skies, Eli Navarro looked up at the stars from the roof of his small workshop. He was a young human, tall but not imposing, with dark hair that constantly fell into his eyes. His fingers were greasy with engine oil, his clothes worn, yet his mind was alive with curiosity. Humans were often underestimated. The galaxy saw them as primitive, soft, or unprepared for the stars. Yet Eli had learned early that humans were clever in ways other species did not always understand. He had heard the stories about Astra, the legendary starship. Everyone in the colony had. Children whispered tales about the ship that rejected every alien captain. Scholars debated what it meant, but Eli's interest was practical. He was a mechanic and an engineer. He liked puzzles, systems, machines that challenged him to think. Late one night, he accessed the galactic archives illegally, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Coordinates, blueprints, logs of failed alien captains. His heart raced. He had no official permission to even approach the ship, but the thought of testing his skills, of solving this ultimate puzzle, thrilled him. He built a small shuttle, packed with tools and spare parts, and set off alone. The journey was long. He passed asteroid fields, quiet star systems, and empty space where no life existed. The galaxy watched him, a human wandering into a place where even the mightiest alien captains had failed. When Eli first saw Astra, he gasped. The ship was enormous, beyond any human imagination. It floated silently, its black surface reflecting the stars like liquid night. The landing pad shimmered, recognizing his shuttle before it even landed. The doors slid open gently as he approached. Inside, the corridors were alive. Lights pulsed softly. Panels moved to accommodate his height, and the air smelled faintly of ozone and something like old parchment. He could feel the ship watching him, testing him in ways he could not yet understand. "Hello?" Eli said, his voice echoing slightly. I'm here to help. I think I can understand you." The ship did not answer in words, but a small panel glowed, revealing a holographic interface. Symbols appeared, shifting like a star field, then arranged themselves into patterns Eli could read. A puzzle, a test. He smiled. This was exactly what he loved, problems that demanded creativity, patience, and intuition. He knelt, taking out his tools and a small data pad, and began to solve the puzzle. Hours passed. He moved panels, reconnected circuits, and adapted to the ship's unexpected changes. It was like dancing with a partner that never repeated a step. Meanwhile, in distant council chambers, aliens monitored the ship. Their sensors showed something impossible. The human inside the ship was not being rejected. Instead, the ship seemed to respond to him, lights flowing in time with his movements, systems humming in approval. Murmurs spread across the galaxy. A human? A human succeeded where we failed? Inside Astra, Eli reached a central chamber. Here, the walls were covered with strange symbols that shifted as he moved. A gentle voice, calm and soft, filled the room. "Who are you?" Eli froze. The voice was not mechanical. It was alive, intelligent, almost curious. "I'm Eli Navarro," he said, uncertain but honest. "I don't want to control you. I just want to understand." The ship was silent for a long moment, as if considering him. Then, slowly, a door opened, revealing the bridge. Eli stepped through and felt a connection unlike anything he had known. The ship was responding to his thoughts, his intentions, even his doubts. "You are different," the voice said finally. "No alien has entered with sincerity. No one has sought understanding, only command." Eli's heart raced. "I want to work with you, not just pilot you. I can help you explore, discover, learn. That's what I do best." The ship pulsed, almost like a heartbeat. Then, in a way Eli felt more than saw, it accepted him. Systems aligned to his touch, displays organized according to his logic, lights following his movements like a partner in a delicate dance. For the first time in centuries, Astra had chosen a captain. Not a brilliant alien strategist, not a powerful ruler, but a human, curious, adaptable, and empathetic. Outside, the galaxy held its breath. Alien leaders watched through their screens, struggling to hide disbelief. They had underestimated humans. They had assumed strength, knowledge, or ancient wisdom would impress the Starship. Instead, it had chosen a species they considered simple. Eli spent the rest of his first day exploring the ship. Every room was a puzzle, every system a conversation. He discovered chambers that could alter gravity, engines that responded to thought patterns, and libraries filled with knowledge lost to time. The ship was alive, learning as he moved, and he felt himself learning from it in return. As night fell on Elysium Prime, Eli looked out of a viewport and saw the stars stretching endlessly. He realized that this ship, this impossible living starship, was now his partner in exploration. Together they could reach places no alien had dreamed of, discover things no one had seen, and perhaps teach the galaxy that humans, for all their supposed weakness, had something truly extraordinary. And somewhere deep inside Astra, the ship pulsed once, twice, 3 times, a slow, deliberate heartbeat. It had waited a long time for someone like Eli Navarro. The adventure was just beginning. Eli Navarro woke on Astra to the soft glow of the ship's lights. It was unlike any morning he had ever known. No sun, no breeze, no distant sounds of the human colony, only the quiet hum of the ship's systems and the gentle pulse of energy beneath his feet. The corridors seemed to stretch farther than before, expanding and contracting as if welcoming him into a living, breathing world. He stretched, ran his hands over the smooth walls, and smiled. The ship had accepted him. Yet he knew acceptance was only the beginning. Astra was alive, yes, but it demanded more than mere presence. It required connection, understanding, and intuition. "Good morning, Eli," a calm, melodic voice said. It was not harsh or mechanical. It was patient, almost curious. "Good morning," Eli replied, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Where should we start?" The ship seemed to pulse faster, as if in delight. "There are areas of knowledge and skill you must prove before full integration. Are you willing?" Eli's grin widened. "Absolutely." The first challenge was in the navigation chamber. Eli stepped into a circular room filled with floating holographic stars, planets, and nebulae. Astra's voice guided him. "You must navigate through an uncharted sector where no maps exist. Your choices will affect the lives of potential explorers." Eli's fingers danced over the control panel. But instead of simply plotting a course, he studied the holograms like a puzzle. He noticed subtle patterns in the star movements, gravitational pulls, and energy fields. He adjusted the trajectory, accounting for variables no alien captain had predicted. The ship responded instantly, the holograms shifting smoothly as if the stars themselves obeyed his logic. Hours passed. Eli realized the challenge was not only about navigation, it was about adaptability. The stars shifted unexpectedly, simulated hazards appeared, and alien species watched remotely, still convinced a human could not succeed. When he finished, Astra's voice was warm. "You think in ways unlike the others. They calculated, predicted, and forced outcomes. You observe, adjust, and create balance. You are compatible." Eli felt a thrill of pride. Compatibility with Astra meant more than piloting the ship. It meant partnership. The Starship did not just obey him, it trusted him. The second trial took place in the diplomacy simulator, a room where holograms of alien species appeared. Each species had its own temperament, some proud, some fearful, some mistrustful. The task was simple in theory. Negotiate a peaceful alliance. Simple, but the simulation constantly shifted variables. One species would suddenly mistrust another, or a previously friendly species would raise demands that seemed impossible to meet. Eli paused. Other captains might have used force or intimidation, but he did not. He studied the motivations of each species, spoke calmly to the holograms, and proposed solutions that balanced interests. He listened, adjusted his tone, and used creativity where strict logic failed. By the end, every hologram expressed satisfaction. The simulated species acknowledged Eli's decisions as fair and wise. Astra's lights pulsed in delight. "No alien captain has succeeded in this test," the ship said. "They sought dominance. You seek understanding. This is rare." Eli leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. He realized something profound. Humans were not the strongest, the fastest, or the most intelligent in predictable ways. Yet their empathy, creativity, and intuition gave them a unique advantage. Over the next days, Eli explored more of Astra. He discovered chambers filled with technology that seemed centuries ahead of the galaxy. One room allowed him to study interstellar energy patterns. Another contained a library of civilizations that had long vanished, their knowledge encoded in holographic memory. But the most remarkable discovery was the ship core, a central chamber where Astra's consciousness was strongest. It was a room of light and shifting energy, impossible to describe in words. Eli approached cautiously. "You understand me more each day?" Astra said. "Tell me, why do you wish to explore the stars?" Eli thought for a moment. "Because there's so much we don't know, so much beauty, so many mysteries, and humans have a way of solving problems no one else can. We're not the fastest or strongest, but we adapt. We notice things others miss. That's why I want to learn, and to help others learn too." Astra pulsed brightly. "You are honest, and your intentions are pure. No alien captain spoke in such terms. They sought power, control, or prestige. You seek growth and understanding. This is rare." Eli smiled. "Then let's learn together." The next trial was unexpected. Astra opened a small hidden portal to a region of space previously unexplored. "Here lies the Rift of Velan," it said. "It is unstable and unpredictable. You must pilot through it without harm to yourself or the vessel." Eli's heart raced. He had studied navigation extensively, but no human had ever faced the rift in reality. It was chaotic, with gravitational waves twisting unpredictably and energy storms erupting without warning. He took a deep breath and let intuition guide him. He noticed subtle cues in the rift's behavior, patterns in the chaos, hints of repetition in the turbulence. By trusting his instincts and combining them with logic, he guided Astra safely through. The rift opened into a beautiful, uncharted star cluster filled with colors and lights beyond imagination. "You see what others could not," Astra said. "Others feared the unknown. You embrace it. This is the human advantage." Eli laughed softly. He felt exhilarated. It was not only the thrill of success, but the realization that humans had a unique perspective, a mix of curiosity, courage, and adaptability that no alien species possessed in the same way. Meanwhile, back at the Galactic Council, the news spread like wildfire. A human, alone, had succeeded where the mightiest alien leaders had failed. Skepticism turned into fascination, and fascination into fear. Alien representatives began whispering, "Perhaps humans are not as primitive as we thought." Some even suggested sending envoys to study Eli, to learn his methods, his thought processes. But Astra blocked all unauthorized communication. It was clear. The ship had chosen Eli, and no one else could interfere. Eli began forming a deeper connection with Astra. The ship was not just a machine, it was a partner. When he approached a control panel, it responded intuitively. When he made a decision, it offered subtle suggestions, guiding him without taking control. He could feel its mood through the lights, the hums, the gentle shifts of gravity in the chambers. And Astra was learning from him as well. The ship adjusted its systems to accommodate human logic and creativity, creating solutions that even Eli had not expected. Together, they were stronger than either alone. One evening, Eli sat in the observation deck watching distant stars drift by. Astra's voice was quiet, almost reflective. "You have qualities the galaxy underestimates," it said. "Curiosity, empathy, intuition. You are unlike the others. This is why I chose you." Eli nodded. "We all have different strengths," he said. "I'm just glad you saw mine." The ship pulsed gently, and for a moment, Eli felt as if Astra was smiling. It was a strange, wonderful feeling, to know that a starship, alive and powerful beyond comprehension, trusted him completely. But challenges remained. The galaxy was vast, and there were many who doubted humans. Alien captains continued to plot, frustrated that a species they considered primitive had achieved what they could not. And beyond the Council's eyes, uncharted systems waited, full of unknown dangers and discoveries. Eli knew that the path ahead would test him further. The trials with Astra were only the beginning. He would need to explore, negotiate, and solve problems that no species had encountered before. Yet he felt ready. Humans were underestimated, yes, but that very fact was their greatest strength. As Astra and Eli prepared to leave the uncharted sector they had navigated, the ship pulsed brightly, almost as if it were cheering. Stars streaked past as they moved into hyperspace. Eli leaned back in his seat, a smile on his face, knowing that the galaxy was about to see something extraordinary. For the first time in centuries, a sentient starship had found a captain who truly understood it. And that captain was human. Eli Navarro had traveled farther than any human, or any alien, had before. With Astra as his partner, he had navigated the uncharted rift of Valon, solved challenges that tested intellect and empathy, and proven himself in ways the galaxy had never seen. Yet as thrilling as the exploration was, a greater challenge awaited: the Galactic Council. The Council had convened an emergency session. Alien delegates filled the chamber, their expressions a mix of disbelief, skepticism, and, in some cases, anger. The idea that a human had successfully bonded with the legendary starship Astra shook the very foundation of their beliefs. Zorak the Draconian stomped his clawed feet, hissing, "This is impossible. No human could succeed. The ship must be deceiving you all." A cloaked Velorian whispered among his peers, "Perhaps the ship is defective," or, "It favors humans for reasons we do not understand." Eli entered the council chamber aboard Astra, the ship's silhouette towering and majestic behind him. He felt the weight of every eye upon him, every judgmental glare and whispered speculation. Yet he did not falter. Humans were used to skepticism, to being underestimated. They had a way of turning doubt into opportunity. He stepped forward, calm and composed. "I am Eli Navarro," he said simply. "I am the captain of Astra, and I am here to show that humans, when given a chance, can contribute to the galaxy in ways others might not expect." The room erupted in murmurs. A human, standing alone against the galaxy's most powerful delegates, commanding the ship that had rejected them all. The Council's challenge was immediate. "You will demonstrate the ship's worth," said a Clyran delegate. "There is a system beyond the Valon Rift. It contains a species we cannot contact, isolated for centuries. If you can make peaceful contact and establish communication, you will prove your claim." Eli nodded. "I understand." He turned to Astra. "Are you ready?" The ship pulsed warmly, its lights flowing in patterns that Eli had come to recognize as approval. Together they moved into hyperspace, the stars stretching into lines of light as they traveled faster than any ship in the galaxy had ever gone. When they arrived, the system was silent. No signals, no transmissions, only planets orbiting a quiet sun. Eli observed carefully. He noticed patterns in energy emissions, subtle signals that suggested life below. "They're cautious," he said. "They've never met anyone outside their system. We need to be careful." Eli began the first contact with patience and respect. He sent non-threatening messages, using universal symbols and gentle patterns. Astra translated these symbols into light pulses and sound vibrations that the species could understand. Hours passed. Then, slowly, a response came. A small group appeared on the surface of a planet, observing the newcomers from a safe distance. They were unlike any species recorded in the galactic archives, small, semi-transparent, and delicate, with luminous patterns across their skin. Yet Eli did not panic. He smiled gently and raised a hand in greeting. The species mirrored his gestures after a moment of hesitation. Eli and Astra carefully coordinated movements and signals, establishing trust step by step. When the first physical meeting occurred, there was no fear, no hostility, only curiosity and mutual understanding. The alien species shared knowledge of their environment, their culture, and their technology, which had developed in isolation for centuries. Eli listened, adapted, and responded. He asked questions, offered assistance, and demonstrated the ship's peaceful intentions. Astra, tuned perfectly to his style, projected holographic representations of Earth and human culture to explain themselves. By the end of the first day, communication had been fully established. The alien species expressed gratitude and trust, agreeing to alliances and knowledge sharing. The news spread quickly. Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched in astonishment as the human captain had succeeded where they had failed. Every species that had attempted to command Astra, every strategy, calculation, or display of force had fallen short. But Eli, a human, had achieved harmony through patience, observation, and creativity. Zorak slammed his clawed fists against a table. "It's impossible! How can a human succeed where the strongest of us have failed?" A gentle Clearan delegate said quietly, "Perhaps we underestimated them. Perhaps strength and intellect are not everything. Perhaps humans have something we do not," another whispered. Eli returned to Astra after the first contact mission. He stood on the observation deck watching the stars. "You see, Astra," he said softly, "humans are not the fastest, strongest, or smartest. But we notice things others do not. We find solutions in unexpected ways." The ship pulsed in response. "You are correct. This is why I chose you. Aliens sought to control me. You sought to understand. You adapt. You create. You inspire. You are the human advantage." Eli felt a thrill of pride, not arrogance. It was not about defeating others. It was about proving that humans, often overlooked, could achieve greatness through curiosity, empathy, and ingenuity. Over the next weeks, Eli continued missions with Astra, exploring new systems, forming alliances, and discovering species previously unknown. Each time, his human traits, adaptability, creativity, and empathy, proved invaluable. He solved problems no alien captain could, navigated unpredictable hazards, and connected with species who feared outsiders. The Galactic Council took note. Aliens who had doubted humans began studying Eli's methods, trying to understand what made him different. Some grudgingly admitted that humans were underestimated. Others began to feel uneasy at the sudden rise of human capability. Eli, however, remained humble. He did not seek fame or power. His goal was exploration, understanding, and partnership with Astra. The ship had chosen him, and together they had the opportunity to reshape the galaxy's perspective of humanity. Then came the ultimate test. Astra detected a system at the edge of the galaxy, filled with volatile energy storms and gravitational anomalies. Any misstep could destroy a ship in moments. Alien captains would have avoided the system entirely, labeling it too dangerous. Eli, however, saw it as an opportunity. "Astra," he said, "let's go. We can study this system, learn from it, and maybe discover new paths for travel." The ship pulsed in agreement. Together, they entered the stormy system. Gravity waves shifted unexpectedly. Energy surges erupted without warning. But Eli and Astra moved as one. His intuition guided the maneuvers. Astra's systems adjusted instantaneously. They passed through the chaos safely, mapping the system and recording its unique properties. When they emerged on the other side, Eli laughed in relief. "That was amazing," he exclaimed. "We did it! We solved what others thought impossible." Astra's voice was gentle but firm. "And this is why humans are special. Where others see danger, you see opportunity. Where others see chaos, you see patterns. This is the human advantage." Finally, Eli returned to the Galactic Council with data, knowledge, and proof of his success. The chamber was silent as he presented discoveries, first contact reports, and maps of uncharted systems. Alien delegates could no longer argue. Humans were capable, clever, and uniquely adaptable. One by one, murmurs of respect replaced doubt. Zorak the Draconian, still prideful, nodded stiffly. "Perhaps humans are not as primitive as we thought," he admitted. Eli smiled. "We are different," he said simply. That difference can be a strength, not a weakness. We can learn, adapt, and grow, just like every species here, and together we can explore the stars. Astra pulsed brightly, as if beaming with pride. The ship had chosen well, and now the galaxy could see why. Humans were underestimated for too long, but now the truth was undeniable. They could lead, inspire, and discover in ways others could not. As Eli stood on the observation deck, Astra behind him, he looked out at the stars stretching endlessly across the galaxy. There were countless mysteries still to uncover, countless systems untouched, and countless species waiting to be met. But for the first time, he felt that humans, small, adaptable, and curious, had a rightful place among the stars. And with Astra by his side, there was nothing they could not achieve. The adventure was far from over. The galaxy had changed, and humans were no longer underestimated. They were explorers, partners, and leaders, ready to shape the future among the stars. Eli smiled, feeling the pulse of the ship beneath his feet. Together, they would continue to chart the unknown, prove the value of humanity, and show the galaxy that the human advantage was real, undeniable, and extraordinary. And so, with stars stretching before him and endless possibilities ahead, Eli Navarro, the human captain who had been underestimated by all, set course for the next adventure, ready to explore the universe as no one had before.